good morning. It's Wednesday, December 5th, D5. What we're going to discuss here in this one is the last couple days in Q's post. We have quite a bit of ground to cover there, so I'll move quick. And then after that, I want to talk about some of the UFO articles we're seeing come out in the mainstream media. Now, some people think that UFO and extraterrestrial topic is not important or secondary, but I completely disagree. It has everything to do with the Great Awakening going on right now with full disclosure. So I want to touch on that topic here. And I might even do a live video a little later today to get deeper into that idea of a limited hangout partial disclosure Psy-Op. It's very important. But anyway, to begin, let's get into Q's post, starting with 2537 from Monday, and this says, odds of a state funeral on D5, that's George H.W. Bush's funeral, today on December 5th. How many coincidences before mathematically impossible? And then Q posts what's called the empirical rule right here. This is a statistics rule discussing standard deviations outside of the norm. And what Q is emphasizing is that George H.W. Bush's funeral was specifically planned to be done today to delay John Huber's testimony in front of the House. So that's what that means. Next one, Q linking an article from the Epoch Times, or the Epic Times. Great news outlet. Let's take a look at that. It's talking about how 4 investigations, a bunch of investigations going on right now into the FBI and the DOJ and the Clinton Foundation, all share a common thread. And Q says it's Department of Justice policy to not discuss ongoing investigations. The majority of the leaks by the bad actors, serve to their benefit. Some don't. Some of these leaks are designed to provide the public with a glimpse into the shadows. Glimpses equal leverage. Leverage equals panic. Panic equals the rats. The bad actors begin to expose themselves. So what this means is that some of these leaks that come out regarding these investigations are on purpose. And they're on purpose by Q or by the White Hats to scare the bad actors into making dumb decisions. And not only that, but to give the public, give us, a little bit of a glimpse into what's going on so then we can start becoming the media and sharing that around. So some of those leaks are not an accident, on purpose. Next post here, the public is about to learn that the DOJ, the FBI, and other U.S. and foreign assets have been actively working behind the scenes in one of the largest criminal investigations in modern-day history. Declassification, the purpose is to illuminate the truth. People, transparency is the only way forward. Controlled media at all levels, whether it's mainstream media, alternative media, quote, independent media, many independent journalists these days aren't actually independent. Controlled media is the enemy of the people. And right here talking about D5 December 5th meetings being postponed. Q saying, well played, deep state. Huber's testimony having to be postponed, which might be next week now. I'm seeing some things come out stating that Huber's testimony might very well be next week, but well played, deep state. They postponed the meetings that were supposed to be today. Please allow us to counter. The Great Awakening in bold right there. And then Q linking a screenshot from a Donald Trump tweet saying, watch Sean Hannity tonight at 9 p.m. This is supposed to be on Monday. Now, background about this tweet. This tweet was put out back in January, and Donald Trump really quickly deleted it, which was interesting because Donald Trump usually doesn't fully delete his tweets if there's some mistake that's not really a mistake. We'll talk about that in a sec. But if there is something that Trump deletes, he always retweets it within a few minutes, fixing whatever so-called, quote, mistake was supposed to be in there. But this he deleted way back in January. My guess is that they just needed a screenshot of this to use in the future. And here, Q is posting that. Watch Sean Hannity tonight at 9 p.m. We'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute. Next, let's get into talking a little bit about Donald Trump's tweets and how many of these so-called mistakes aren't actually mistakes. So Q says here, the art of trolling the fake news media. Step 1, Trump tweets. This is it right here. Scot-free. This was that so-called mistake that wasn't really a mistake. Scot-free, capitalizing Scott and free. A lot of mainstream media was like, what the heck? Q outlines it right here. Step 2, People.com was one of those mainstream media outlets that tried to say President Donald Trump's latest misspelling has Twitter users wondering, who is scot-free? A lot of people trying to think Trump is dumb, throw shade on him for his so-called misspellings. But Q asks, who is scot-free? And if you actually look into it, Q links the Wikipedia page right here, but I made a tweet about this I want to reference. A little easier to follow here. Some say Trump's misspelling of scot-free was a dumb mistake. Let's take a look. What phrase has been popularized by Q? Where we go one, we go all. What movie is that phrase in? White Squall. White Squall. Q has mentioned this movie before. What company produced White Squall? Wow, Scot-Free Productions. Trolling the fake news right there. White Squall, Where We Go and We Go All from the movie. Thank you for playing, mainstream media. You're very easy to troll when you don't expand your thinking. All these misspellings aren't misspellings. They are very purposeful communications. Very subtle, but purposeful communications to us. Q linking the White Squall movie trailer right here to reiterate that fact. Where We Go and We Go All was in it, directed by Scot-Free Productions. Next post, Q linking an application link to Secret Service and FBIJobs.gov saying if you decide to change careers, your name has been entered to be fast-tracked. I didn't pick up on this in first. I thought this was a message from Q to all the Anons out there, but a little more context brought some clarity to it. This is actually in regards to the SWAT sergeant reprimanded and reassigned for wearing the conspiracy theory QAnon patch. That was in the tweet that Mike Pence put out, where there was a photograph of a sheriff right there, a SWAT team member with his Q patch on, his little Q patch. And the sheriff was subsequently reprimanded and reassigned. So this is to him. If you decide to change careers, your name has been entered to be fast-tracked. So I would imagine that that guy, that hero right there, geez, that takes some balls to do. He is in good hands now. So let's get into the next post here. 23-day delta between POTUS, calm before the storm, and the first Q post. So Q is mentioning an Anon's post right here. Is the plot moving forward, the Anon asks, and Q reiterates the fact. The President of the United States initiated and confirmed the order when he stated, calm before the storm. This was on, I believe, October 5th or 6th last year in 2017. It was one of those 2 days where Donald Trump was in the White House there with 20, 30 military generals around him, and he was mentioning, this is the calm before the storm right here. Right here, the media was super confused. What do you mean, President? And POTUS goes, you'll see. President Trump just said, you'll see. This is the calm before the storm. That statement was made, those 2 days I just said, one of those days. When did Q go active? October 28th, 2017. Just 3 weeks later. Watch the news, watch the FBI, watch the DOJ, Q says. I've been seeing a lot of pieces of news come out the past couple days about the FBI. Many people leaving the FBI. A thorough cleanse is going on at these organizations right now, coming out in the news. And then Q is talking about here how the Fox execs on Monday pulled 3 scheduled guests. And their new focus, instead of having those guests on Fox, was to focus on George H.W. Bush. This gives more clarity into this post right here where Q was linking the tweet that Trump made about watch Sean Hannity tonight at 9 p.m. Who was supposed to be on Sean Hannity? Well, one of our Clinton Foundation whistleblowers, Nate Kane. He was supposed to be on Fox News on Hannity to talk about his situation. He was the Clinton whistleblower that had his house raided. Not the second one that we heard about, but this is the first guy who had his house raided. But anyway, Fox cut him. Fox told him they weren't going to have him on, pulled 3 scheduled guests, and wanted to focus on George H.W. Bush instead. So still some infiltration going on at Fox News, it looks like. And now we get into some posts from last night, and these have to do with Flynn. So news came out yesterday that General Flynn is avoiding jail time. Mueller recommended that Flynn not go to jail because he has been, quote, cooperating with whatever's going on there. And these posts give a little bit more clarity into it. So Q links a tweet right here from Tom Winter. Special counsel Robert Mueller asks a judge for little to no jail time for Michael Flynn in exchange for what they've described as substantial assistance into their investigation. Q linking another tweet here. Let's take a look at it. NBC News. There appears, although the redacted documents do not make it completely clear, that there is a separate criminal investigation going on outside of special counsel Robert Mueller's purview for which Flynn has been providing significant assistance. Wow, that's big news. Huge news right there. So some questions give a little bit more light on that. There appears, although redacted, a separate criminal investigation going on outside of Special Counsel Mueller's purview. Markers are important. December 4th, 2017 to December 4th, 2018. So what that means is exactly 1 year ago, on December 4th, 2017, Q posted, and it said, "Flynn is safe. Patriots protect Patriots." I'll put a screenshot of that Q drop up. So, boom, right there. Military planning at its finest. You know, some people are thinking there's time travel and all this stuff going on here. In a later line of this drop, Q says, sci-fi or precision military planning. They don't need time travel or sort of sci-fi technologies. Not really sci-fi, they exist, but Q doesn't need that. This is just precision military planning. A plan, an operation that is so thorough and in-depth, it really boggles the mind, but it's just indicative of brilliant humans coming together and putting this all into motion. Did Mueller have a choice in making the recommendation? Who does Mueller now report to? He reports to Whitaker. So I don't think Mueller necessarily had a choice. I think a lot of what Mueller's doing right now, he's sort of being forced to do to save his own ass. You know, I think Mueller is playing a very complicated game right now, where he's sort of playing the bad cop, but behind the scenes, he might be playing the good cop in a way. So anyway, I won't speculate too much more on that. But Mueller has to report to Whitaker. Does Whitaker also oversee Huber and the OIG? What cases is Huber plus the OIG plus Huber's team of 470 currently working on? Well, those are the Clinton Foundation investigations, the FBI and DOJ investigations, a lot of investigations right there. Who has the server? Well, the NSA has it all, don't they? Who has access to the NSA Utah Terminal 1 through 12? I would imagine Huber, being right there in Utah, has pretty easy access to the information that they're digging up. Does FISA grant access to the NSA umbrella collection? Good question. You are witnessing something firsthand that many cannot possibly comprehend or accept as reality. That is the depth, that is the amazing planning of this operation. Coincidences reveal without violating national security. Q's been doing that for a long time now. Coincidences, mathematically impossible to be false. Exactly. Coincidences bypass installed restrictions to prevent future legal attachments. Comms understood. The Senate was the target. I think coincidences should be the 2018 word of the year. Let's see, next post. Deep State used George H.W. Bush's state funeral to stall Huber's testimony. Q says logical thinking. D5 drops first to last. Q has been mentioning D5 for quite a while now. Content and dates. Huber drops first to last. Content and dates. Q's been mentioning Huber for a little while now. Role of Huber as portrayed by Q. Within this Q operation, Huber has been portrayed as being a essentially lead investigator, the prosecutor, leading the investigative team. Excuse me, that's more clear. The lead prosecutor in all this. What are the odds, mathematical probability, that Huber would be scheduled to testify regarding the Clinton Foundation on D5? What are the odds, mathematical probability, that Bush passes away and the state funeral date is on D5? Well, this is interesting. It's as if, how my mind is thinking with this, that Q was purposely putting that D5 date out there for a long, long time just to make the deep state use one of their distraction cards. And in my opinion, it's likely that they never actually planned for Huber to testify on the D5 because they knew the deep state would try to make a move, and they did. So Q says, ho, allow us to counter. Huber's still going to testify, and you just used one of your cards there, deep state. Tactics and strategy. What other interviews and investigations were wiped clean, postponed, given a state funeral takes up media coverage for a week? Well, few different interviews and investigations. Why does the global fake news media, largest in the world, continuously attack Q? Because it's legit. Why is the Washington Post leading the attack? Because they are basically the CIA's main propaganda piece. I think ABC agency, CIA. Remember, the CIA gave Jeff Bezos and Amazon back in 2013, I think a $600 million contract, for which Amazon then bought the Washington Post, and that's when a bunch of propaganda began. Not began, it was coming out for a while, but Washington Post started leading the way with deep state propaganda. When you are awake, you can see clearly. Q linking a tweet in the next drop to General Flynn's sister, saying, "Thank you, everybody, for your support with General Mike Flynn. Tension on deck for God and country." And then Q linking a screenshot to the previous day's drop. Postponed, well played, deep state. Please allow us to counter. It's coming. It's coming, folks. So that's what I have in regards to Q the past few days. Want to take a quick shout out to a sponsor of this YouTube channel, in Noble Gold Investments. They're an awesome family-run company out of Texas. They help you invest your money in gold and silver, and they also have some pretty sweet commemorative coins you can grab for the holidays. They have a Donald Trump economical accomplishment commemorative coin, and then some rare old silver dollar pieces as well. These are pretty sweet. You can go pick them up. There'll be some links in the description down below. All right, so now let's get into talking about the UFO articles and the whole partial disclosure PSYOP thing. So first, I want to run through 3 different articles. They all came out in the mainstream media the past day, literally, and then I'll give you a little bit of my insight into them. So this is number 1. Curiosity rover, the NASA rover, still on Mars, it's been there for about 6 or 7 years, spots a, quote, shiny object on Mars, and NASA isn't sure what it is. Huh. Interesting. All right, next one. NASA scientist says Earth may have been visited by aliens. A NASA scientist, Silvano Colombano, he's a computer scientist at the NASA Ames Research Center, put out a paper theorizing that intelligent life may not be what we're used to, may not necessarily use the traditional building blocks that humanity is accustomed to, and may have visited Earth before. Huh. Interesting. One more article. Why Harvard scientists think that this interstellar object, that's the Oumuamua, basically looks like a space turd, been out in the mainstream media for year, well over that now, might actually be an alien spacecraft. Wow. Harvard scientists think that? This is something that many of us have been theorizing and speculating on for quite a while now, that this is actually a craft that was sent through our solar system just to say hi, you know, maybe make us wake up a little bit. But now Harvard scientists are finally jumping on board and thinking that that might be the case. A little slow there, guys. So, interesting, huh? All of these articles coming out in succession here to prime our minds. That's the goal here. Start priming our minds, right? Seeding the consciousness, getting people to think about topics like UFOs, like extraterrestrials. Well, why is that? Because they need a distraction, okay? UFO, that topic itself is not the distraction. It's what they're saying about it is the distraction. I want to define limited hangout here really quickly. Very important topic to understand. A limited hangout is a intelligence community term, spy jargon, for when a particular operation or an agent or an agency or whatever the case is starts getting outed bit by bit. What they then do is say, okay, because they need to cover their ass, they put out a sliver of true information, a sliver of the truth, with a bunch of twisted misinformation to distract people with and to muddy the waters and confuse them with. So when it comes to UFOs, secret space programs, extraterrestrial life, that has been covered up at the highest levels within the intelligence community and the military-industrial complex and the deep state itself for decades, for literally a century now, okay? But now, the deep state, a lot of their crimes against humanity, are getting outed. People are waking up too fast with Q. People are waking up too fast to the really hard-hitting truths, such as the satanic ritual abuse and the human trafficking and things like that, that the deep state does at the highest levels. So, what's their distraction? What's their limited hangout? Their limited hangout is going to be with the space topic because it is, I mean, so many people out there in the public and even in the alternative media and truth-seeking circles, they are confused about it. They're confused. They don't have the truth. There's so many disinformation agents out there that, wow, that's the card they're going to play. That's their partial disclosure psyop, is giving us a piece of the pie, tiny sliver, distract, wow people with. Literally, in this article, they're calling it a shiny object. They literally want to distract us with a shiny object. Oh, people go, oh, wow, these free energy technologies exist. Oh, wow, they want to try to roll them out into the public. Oh, wow, NASA might be finding evidence of what ancient civilizations or giving us a little piece of the UFO truth, And then they'll, number one, not give you the whole piece of the extraterrestrial truth or UFO truth, brush the rest of that under the rug, what they don't tell you in regards to UFOs and ETs, and then they'll try to brush all the other crimes against humanity, all the hard-hitting stuff under the rug too. So that's their goal with the limited hangout, with the partial disclosure psyop. It's very deep and complicated, but very important to understand. That's why I'm going to do multiple videos on that coming up and probably do that live stream on it as well. And then one last article I want to share with you guys that is still on that UFO partial disclosure topic. This coming out of the Daily Beast. Why did the FBI raid the home of the biggest alien truther? This is what they're claiming, and they're talking about Bob Lazar, a new documentary examining the claims of Bob Lazar, a scientist who says he worked on extraterrestrial technology at a remote testing site near Area 51, that is S4. Now, when it comes to Bob Lazar, he came out in the late 1980s, early 1990s with his claims of working at this S4 facility. Now, I have never met Bob Lazar personally, and I have never, before the last couple days, got any weird intuitive pings about him or his testimony, right? I was like, oh, okay, it could be legit. He might not, I didn't think too much into him being some sort of sleeper agent or something like that. Never occurred to me. I never got the feel for it. But now with articles like this coming out, mind you, this is in the Daily Beast. The Daily Beast is deep state corporate propaganda. They throw shade on conspiracy theories all the time. They try to discredit Pizzagate. They try to discredit Q all the time. So why would they be writing this article about Area 51, extraterrestrial technology, but not relegating it to that conspiracy theory box that they relegate everything else to? I mean, why are they giving this a serious feature in the Daily Beast? And not only that, but the first paragraph in this article is talking about that New York Times revealed the existence of the ATIP program and, talk about partial disclosure. That's a massive partial disclosure psyop in play right now, is that ATIP, to the stars disclosures. So the first paragraph is about that. They go into Bob Lazar. They claim he's the biggest alien truther out there. I mean, that's not really the case. That's debatable for sure. They go on to talk about George Knapp. They say that George Knapp is described as the best known above ground correspondent on the ET beat. That's also very debatable. I mean, they're claiming these things. They're throwing these names out there, trying to get the mainstream public to funnel into these particular media personalities, this particular documentary with this particular narrative. It's like, I'm really questioning now, Again, I still have never met Bob Lazar. I don't know about the guy, but from the organizations and the people I'm seeing promote this movie, I'm seeing definitely questionable organizations promote this movie like the Daily Beast, and I'm seeing a lot of questionable people promote this movie as well in the alternative media and the ufology community too. So I am watching this with a very keen eye with my, pondering beard stroke here. I'm just being very careful with this. And the idea of partial disclosure, I mean, this has all the hallmarks of a limited hangout right here. So that's why I often say, when it comes to those who promote the UFO topic, great, put out information on it, but if you don't talk about the UFO phenomenon in regards to all the other pieces going on right now, that's why I often say the UFO topic goes hand in hand with disclosing topics like pedogate and human trafficking. I mean, look at John Podesta. He has his fingerprints all over that ATIP disclosure, that To the Stars program. So many of these dark occult political figures are the ones that have their hands in disclosing, limited hangout, partial disclosing this UFO phenomenon, which is why I say it's not a secondary issue. It's actually very important because we don't want to get caught up by that psyop, right? So yeah, I'm going to quit ranting on that here, but it's a topic I'm going to do much more work on, and one that is very important for all of us to be aware of so we don't get caught up by any sort of limited hangout psyop. Okay? Anyway, that's it for this one. Thank you guys if you followed along this long into the video. I appreciate you. I'll be back very soon. Take care.